Welcome back to channel Jagrata Nibodhata. In my earlier videos, I talked about perfection and imperfection. And I also talked about my book, which was recently released, titled Perfectly Imperfect. So that's all about the real life experiences I shared in the book. And some of you bought that book also from Amazon. Thank you so much for buying that book, and you would have probably got some insights about life. And then today's topic is all about uniqueness and also what is perfect, what is imperfect. A person who understands this very clearly, the perspective of both, will have a happy life journey. And when God created all of us, we were all equal. And the differentiation of perfection, imperfection evolved over a period of time depending on how we were looking at the world and how we were looking at ourselves, how we were looking at others. So there is a view, there is a perspective, which decides perfection. That is also very, very limited knowledge of, your own interpretation of perfection or imperfection. And then I talked about uniqueness. So everyone born in this world is unique in his or in her own way. So the ideas are unique, and so is a flaws. So flaws are also unique for some of us, and no one is definitely perfect in this world as God created, and then we have changed ourselves, and the perfection is dedicated to God, the Almighty. And all the imperfections, it is you and me who created this in this world. So I would like to share a nice story. I've been listening to a lot of stories in satsangs and other places, reading stories. So here is a story today. I want to talk about uniqueness and a person who understands, both perfections and imperfection, how to live together to make it really perfect despite the perfections existing in us. I'm talking about you and me, and make life a better place, this world a better place, in fact. So the flaws make lives together. So it makes it interesting, it makes it rewarding as well. A person who understands different perspective of life, people, and able to visualize that flaws are part of our life and we need to accept and live with it. Uniqueness, I talked about. Everybody is unique. Your brains are unique, the way you think, and then your ideas are unique. So those things are very, very positive for every single person in this world. So a story of Are You Too Cracked? I want to share today. A water bearer had two big pots. Every day he was carrying the water or filled water pots from one side to the other side, and he had a pathway he has to cross, and then it had a distance of almost half a kilometer plus. So he has to carry and put it on a pole for the day. So he used to carry this every day, and out of the two big pots he was carrying, one on the left side, other one on the right side, one had a crack on one side of it, one of the pots, and the other pot was crackless. So this went on. By the time the water bearer reached the destination of the pole, one pot which was cracked always ended up with half full and half empty. Because it had a crack, it started leaking. So this went on for 2 years, and then the crack pot was very disturbed and ashamed. So it had a conversation when the pot which was always full talked about, I'm really proud of my accomplishment, my achievement, because by the time I reach, I'm always full, and the water bearer actually gets maximum benefit out of me. So the crackpot decided to talk to the water bearer on a particular day after a couple of years. So we've been doing this for so many years, but you never looked at me that my one of my side is cracked, and you're not addressed the issue. So you should have done something to fill up that crack so that I also end up being full. In life, you must understand there is nothing called mindfulness or mindlessness. I did talk about this in my earlier videos. So that is how it is. So the water bearer smiled at the cracked pot and then responded, "Did you notice, my dear pot, that when we walk through the path, one side, that is your side, is always with flowers, and it is a huge garden there, and the other side is almost dry. So did you notice that?" So I understood your flaw, and I knew that by the time I reach my destination of the pole, you will be half empty. So I have very clearly and had an understanding of your flaw, and then I have planted the flower bearing plants there on the way on your side. So every day I walk slow so that I water your side of the path, and these flowers are blooming and blossoming because I created a garden, because you were leaking and you thought you were a crackpot, but you are not so, because whatever you see, these flowers are all because you started leaking there, and it was very clearly known to me. That is the reason I didn't do any act to repair your thing, because I was actually watering these plants as I was walking. So life is all about that. When you understand that flaws are going to be there, and every flaw which we notice can be addressed through love, can be addressed to something else which can be very useful to both of us, all of us in fact, then that is the way life is to be treaded upon. The life path is to be treaded upon. So uniqueness of what God has created and the uniqueness you have, which can be encashed, or it can be used effectively to see that it ends up in a great benefit to the society. That's what we should be looking at. And I'll be coming up with one more story on integrity in my next session. And thank you so much for listening to this and seeing this video on uniqueness and perfection and imperfection in life. So everybody is imperfect in life. That's what the message is. Thank you so much for listening.